As a reward for them doing the shlichus, he told them that they'd be able to see Mashiach ben David. A cloud came, picked them up, and dropped them off in Lublin, right in front of the Maharshal's shul. But every Shabbos, everything changed. The house would expand, and a table would just appear with all types of delicacies for Shabbos.
Up a hill so high.
Okay, good Vach, everybody. Coming to you from Tzfas, Sunday. You can still say good Vach, I guess, right? Didn't end up saying a story last night. I read a story by myself, Love Malka, but I was really tired. It was very late. So we're going to do it today. Okay, so here's the story. So basically, we're in Tzfas, and thought it was really appropriate to say a story of the Arizal. In about a week and a half is actually the Arizal's yard site. So the Arizal was teaching Kabbalah, and all the miracles that he was doing was causing a lot of tumult, and people weren't sure if it was the correct thing. The Arizal's name was Rabbi Yitzchak Luria. The Maharshal, who his name I believe was Rabbi Shlomo Luria, they actually were related somehow, heard of what he was doing, and he was afraid that he was doing black magic. He was afraid that he was doing kishuf, and that what he was doing wasn't miracles, rather it was something impure. And so he was on the verge of declaring a Cherem, a ban, on the Arizal, and the Arizal heard about this. And this is a really crazy story. So basically the Arizal decided to send two of his Talmidim, who were actually on their own. They were also very, very great tzaddikim, Reb Chaim Vital and Rabbi Yisrael Srug, and he sent them to Lublin, where the Maharshal was the Rav, to explain to him that not only was it not anything impure that he was doing, but it was actually very deep secrets of the Torah. So now, as a reward for them doing the shlichus, he told them that they'd be able to see Mashiach ben David. Every single generation has a Mashiach, and if the generation is worthy, then Mashiach comes. So he said that close to Lublin, in a town, I forgot the name of the town, but very close to Lublin, there's a place, and the person's name is, I think, Eliakim ben Shmuel, and that's the Mashiach. That's Mashiach ben David, and after you go and speak to the Maharshal, you'll be able to go and see him, meet him. And obviously the Arizal, with all the secrets that he knew, he says that they went on a cloud. A cloud came, picked them up, and dropped them off in Lublin, right in front of the Maharshal's shul. And they also took food with them from Tzfas, and I guess the food over there is different, than other places, and also the way they were dressed is different. So when they landed in front of the shul of the Maharshal, people see, all of a sudden there are people there and they're dressed in the Tzfas, garb, and their mode of dress is very different from Europe. And so there's a big tumult, and actually there's a story of something that happened inside the shul, which is a story on its own. Where I looked at the story, where I read the story, it doesn't say, so I'm going to have to look for it, and hopefully I'll say it next week, because next week is actually the week of the yard site of the Arizal. So anyway, so they come to the Maharshal, and they show the Maharshal the food that they have, and it's still warm. And they're saying, and obviously it was very obvious they were coming from some other place on planet Earth, and so he said, "You know what? Tell me something from the Arizal, and I'll judge for myself." So they say, "Listen, we can share it with you, but it's so sensitive, such high." High things that we're about to tell you, that it can't be done by nobody can eavesdrop. It has to be done in private. So they go to the basement of the Maharshal, and it was dark. And the second they started to talk in Torah, and talk about these deep Kabbalistic ideas, the room actually lit up. And so the Maharshal, right away, instead of being a critic, and not only did he abandon any ideas of putting the cherem of the ban on the Arizal, he actually became one of his admirers. So they left from there to go to this other town, and again I'm forgetting the name, and they they ask around, even the older people in the community, for a person named Eliakim and Shmuel. Nobody knows who this guy is. So they go to the Rav, and even the Rav doesn't know who it is, the Rav of that town. And out of desperation, they actually reveal to him why they're there. They're here from the Arizal, and they're looking for Mashiach and David. And the Rav immediately decided to help them. And they, after asking around, and with the help of a lot of people, they finally were able to find where this place was. So they go. The Rav, he insisted on going with them. He wasn't going to pass up such a chance. And so they all went to this house, and they see the house is broken down. There's only a table that's falling apart, two chairs, and this Eliakim and Shmuel is lying down in bed, and his wife is in the kitchen. And they were very surprised to have guests, but also very happy to have these guests. And these two students come and tell Reb Eliakim, I forget the name, but they tell him that it's time. They tell him what happened. That Arizal said that he's supposed to be the Mashiach of the generation, and they wanted to come see him. And this Rebbe Eliakim right away says the Arizal he caused me and himself a lot of damage because he revealed this. Now I need to go to it's time for me to leave this world. And he asked for them to take care of all the funeral arrangements and to write, "Here lies a truthful and honest man." And some people say about the story that it was because the Rav, who was not authorized to go and see Mashiach, came along. That's why he had to pass away. And maybe if it would have been just the students alone, since they had the permission of the Arizal, that maybe this wouldn't have happened, and he wouldn't have had to leave this world. But this is the story, and so they took care of the funeral, and they did all the arrangements, and they went to visit this Eliakim ben Shmuel's widow. They visited her during Shiva, and they asked her to tell them something about his behavior. So how he was, his life, everything. So she said that my husband was always sick, and we always lived very modestly. But every Shabbos, everything changed. When Shabbos was about to come in, the house would expand, and there would be all of a sudden a table. It would just appear with all types of delicacies for Shabbos. And people would come, very holy people would come. They would always bring a Sefer Torah. And the entire Shabbos was just spent learning Torah, davening, and eating the three Sudas. And right after Ma'ariv and Havdalah, people would disappear. They would leave. The house would shrink back to its size. Everything would go back to normal. And that's how they lived until the day of his passing. So the Talmidim, who are shocked to hear such a thing, they ask her, "Why didn't you ever tell anybody this? This is incredible." And she's looking at them, and she didn't realize this was extraordinary because all she saw was what was in her own house. She says, "I thought that because a husband is a king, it says right that the husband of the house is a king, a bride, a groom is a king, a chassan is a king, and a kala is a queen. So I thought that once someone gets married, this is something that happens in every home." She was so innocent. She thought this was something that happens in every single home. She didn't realize how extraordinary it was. And that's how the story ends. It's one of these otherworldly stories that is almost hard to believe. And the author of the story says that up until the day that he wrote the story, you could still find in this town the matzeva, the tombstone that says, "Here lies an honest and truthful man." I don't know if it's verbatim, but that idea. So anyway, I just thought it was appropriate, being here in Tzfas, and yeah, just I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave this place. I want to leave Eretz Yisrael. It's, hoping Mashiach will come and just end all this, and for us to really finally see Mashiach. So, yeah, just have an amazing week, and we should have a Mashiach week. We should all, whoever's in Eretz Yisrael should stay in Eretz Yisrael, and everybody else should come. We should have a final redemption. No more of these, Mashiach almost came, or, meeting Mashiach just here, Lamata Mesar Tzfachim. So, I wish you guys an incredible week with the Geula right now. So, love you guys.
I am an ancient wall of stone atop a hill so high, and if you listen with your